Excellency, Brigadier General President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Chancellor of the Judiciary, Justice Yonet Cummings Edwards, Honorable Sidney Allicock, Vice President and Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Honorable Vice Presidents and Ministers of the Government of Guyana, Speaker of the National Assembly, Dr. the Honorable Barton Scotland and Mr. Scotland, Secretary General of CARICOM, Dr. Erwin LaRocque and Mrs. LaRocque, Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, Sir Stridus Ramphel, Chairman of the Regional Eminent Persons Panel, Lady Ramphel, and other members of the panel and their spouses, Dr. A. Norman Sabga, Chairman and Chief Executive of the and patron of the Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence, 2017 laureates, Mr. Winslow, Mr. Kwame Ryan, Mr. Shadek, Compton, and Dr. Arif, Bulkan. Former President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Mr. Donald Ramatar, Ansa McCall, Deputy Chairman, Mr. David Sabga, Guyana Country Head, Mrs. Beverly Harper, and other executives of the Ansa McCall Trading Guyana, members of the nominating committees from Guyana, Barbados, Jamaica, the OECS, and Trinidad and Tobago, directors of the Ansa McCall Foundation, standing laureates of previous years, executives of Ansa McCall and members of the Sabga family, members of the media, members of our streaming audience, distinguished ladies and gentlemen all, good evening. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2017 Anthony N. Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence Awards ceremony. It is the first time the ceremony has been hosted outside Trinidad and Tobago. It is therefore my honor to welcome you to Guyana, an emerging green state. I now invite you to stand for the national anthems of Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, and Guyana. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as I ask you to observe a minute's silence in honor of the late Dr. Anthony N. Sabga, who passed away on the 3rd of May. I now invite Mr. Nabil Hadi, Director of the Ansa McCall Foundation, to say a prayer.
O God and Creator, goodness and perfection flow from you. How great are your fullness and wonder. We come to you today seeking your blessing, not only on those of us present, but on all peoples we represent. Almighty God, in the abundance of your glory, enable us to grow firm in power with regard to our inner selves, so that you may live in our hearts through faith, and then, planted in love and built on love, with all God's holy people, we will have the strength to grasp the breadth and the length, the height and the depth, so that, knowing the perfect love of God, which is beyond knowledge, we may be filled with the utter fullness of God. We thank you for the life of Anthony Norman Sabga, by whose generosity and inspiration the notion of the Caribbean Awards for Excellence have come to fruition. May he enjoy eternal life. Bless, we pray, the laureates who we may recognize tonight, and endow each of them, their co-workers and respective families with grace and strength, so that their future work and witness be to the credit of their country and be to your glory. We make our prayer knowing that from you all things come, and to you all things shall return. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Hadi. Please be seated. I now give you Sir Sridhar Ramaphosa, Chairman of the Awards Regional Eminent Person Selection Panel, who will deliver our welcome remarks. Sir Sridhar needs little introduction in Guyana. He is a Guyanese barrister, public servant and internationalist, former Chancellor Emeritus of the University of the West Indies, the University of Guyana, and the University of Warwick in the United Kingdom. He is a regional statesman and former Commonwealth Secretary General. In 1991, he was Special Advisor to the Secretary General of the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development. Sir Sridhar was chair of the West Indian Commission, whose report, provided to Caribbean heads of government in 1992, made detailed recommendations for the future of our region. He has authored several books, such as Our Country, the Planet, Forging a Partnership for Survival, which has been published in several languages. Sir Sridhar is the recipient of many awards, which include his appointment to the Order of St. Michael and St. George in the United Kingdom, the Order of Australia, the Order of the Caribbean Community, Honorary Fellow of the Royal Society of Arts, United Kingdom, and the Order of Excellence, Guyana's highest national award. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Sir Sridhar Sonny Ramaphosa.
Your Excellency, President Granger, Right Honourable Vice Presidents, and honourable ministers, Your Honour the Speaker, and members of Parliament, former President Ramatar, Mr. Norman Sabga, and members of the Ansamacal family who are of Trinidad but of Guyana also. I welcome you all. I welcome you all as fellow members of the Caribbean community, and to those friends who are not, a very special welcome for your fellowship with us. My very first words must, of course, be about Tony Sabga, Dr. Anthony M. Sabga. The ironies of history have ordained that we are here without him this evening, for he passed on, as you know, over a week ago. It had been his wish that these 2017 awards should be held in Guyana. Anthony Sabga was not only a great businessman of Trinidad, he was an illustrious son of the Caribbean. We dedicate these awards, these 2017 awards, to his memory. And you have already, by the silence you observed, participated in that process. In his immortal Gitanjali, Tagore wrote of a world where ceaseless striving ever stretches forward. It was a world where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. That is the world of excellence. The lighting here is not very good, as you may detect. It is in obeisance to that signification of Tagore about the world of excellence, especially excellence here in the Caribbean, that we are collected here tonight. Collected for the conferment of the Anthony M. Sabga Caribbean Awards of Excellence for 2017. This is already the 9th time that we have done so. But tonight is a rather special occasion. For it is the first time that this ceremony is being held outside of the awards birthplace of Trinidad and Tobago. the home of the Ansel McCall Foundation that administers the awards. In announcing the venue of the foundation, the venue of the ceremony, the foundation said that the decision to hold this occasion in Guyana was taken for the number of laureates it has given to the award program. And the region with from the number it is given, Guyana has given to the region, and as well to honor the two Guyanese awardees who are on the list of awardees tonight. I know, of course, as your chairs signify, that Guyana is proud to host this very special occasion. When the foundation inspired and headed by the late Anthony Sabga, launched the awards in 2005, it represented a kind of coming of age of the region, signifying in a way that Caribbean people recognized and nurtured excellence among their own, and did so in a rather special way. It was the first regional non-governmental program of the type, offering significant, tangible benefits to the awardees. The goal of the Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence is both to recognize significant Caribbean excellence and as well to encourage and to support its furtherance. From Monsignor Gregory Ramkissoon of Jamaica, one of the first laureates way back in 2005 in the category of public and civic contributions, to this year's laureate in arts and letters, the celebrated conductor Kwame Ryan of Trinidad and Tobago. The Sabga Awards for Excellence have reached out across the Caribbean to identify the truly worthy among us. In doing so, the Foundation has relied heavily on the region itself through its country-nominating committees. Relied on these committees to identify the excellence within our midst. No laureate reaches the ultimate stage of selection save by the regional eminent persons save through nomination by the local committee to the central panel. The EPP, the selectors, is a fully independent and autonomous body. It is supported by the foundation on a regional basis. I am its current chairman, having been a member from the outset. We have lost some of our eminent members, including my predecessors as chairman, Sir Ellis Clark and Mr. Michael Mansour, and very recently, Sister Paul Burrowes and Sir Dwight Venner. Names I'm sure that will be known to you. And their passing I recall tonight with great sadness. But most of my other colleagues are here, and I invite them at this moment to rise so that you might acknowledge them. Colleagues, please. In the beginning, in 2005, there were 3 categories of awards: arts and letters, public and civic contributions, and science and technology. For the last 2 award cycles, a new category was added by the foundation, responsive to the contemporary priorities of the region. That category was entrepreneurship. On any occasion, the EPP can decide that it would not make an award, and it has done so this year in the category of science and technology. So rigorous are the requirements of the process. From the outset, the foundation's selection criteria placed emphasis on a candidate's capacity for significant future achievement and the likelihood to do so, being themselves at a stage of their life where the award could help them to realize their promise and their potential. This now takes tangible form in the guidance given to nominating committees in the countries of the region, that candidates should preferably be between 35 and 55 years. It is not a lifetime achievement award, and one that identifies, rewards, and nurtures excellence, shines currently and so vividly in the Caribbean. In this respect, the awards serve the entire region. For that's striving toward perfection of which Tagore wrote. and which is the cardinal need of the Caribbean as we seek to mark out a place in the world that demands excellence as its standard of achievement. The experience of the Caribbean Awards for Excellence over the last 12 years demonstrates how extraordinarily rich is the totality of our region and how constantly successful is that striving for perfection. If in any year we fail to identify it in any category, the fault is within the system of detection. The gold is there, and we shall continue to search and find it. A final word before we begin the actual ceremony of conferment on this year's awardees. Dr. Anthony Sabga's eldest son himself, in his own right, and not merely by succession, is a respected member of the business community of Trinidad and Tobago, and one whose personal management and Caribbean commitment, together, of course, with the generosity of the Anson McCulloch group of companies, has made these awards possible. They are themselves, together, an act of corporate excellence. And for that, we honor them and wish it to serve as a model for the rest of our Caribbean region. Thank you very much. And I ask you to forgive the light. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Sridhar, Chairman of the Awards Regional Eminent Persons Selection Panel. I now invite Ansel Caribbean Awards 2010 Laureate in Public and Civic Contributions and Vice President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, the Honorable Sidney Alicock, to address you. Mr. Alicock, a Tushau of the Makushi Nation of the North Rupununi, began his life as an activist for indigenous peoples' rights, education, and development via environmentally sustainable tourism and other initiatives. He led the Surama community in implementing a sustainable tourism project that was copied by other Amerindian communities in Guyana and is considered a model for development of our interior. He was also a pioneer of a model of community, corporate, and government cooperation called the Three-Legged Stool. We're proud to say the Answer Caribbean Awards honored Mr. Alicock in 2010 for his activism and sustainable tourism work. He entered politics as a member of the Partnership for National Unity and is today Vice President, Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, and Member of Parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Sidney Alicock.
Thank you so very much, Madam Chair. Mr. President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, the Honorable David Arthur Granger, the President of of Trinidad and Tobago, members of the eminent team, Mr. Shadek Rampal, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests. It is indeed a great moment for me here this evening, and I would ask you to bow your heads for a moment, close your eyes, and let us take this moment to reflect the very first time we met or spoke to the great Anthony Sabga. He is indeed a great man because I don't see him as leaving us. I feel his presence here with us tonight. We know the Spirit continues to live, and to have had the experience and the pleasure of speaking to such a great man has caused me to be here standing before you tonight. I bring to you greetings from the communities of the hinterland of Guyana. I would like to say that hadn't it been for this opportunity, I would not have been recognized by, first of all, the coalition of this government that we have today. Among us here tonight, we have a number of Guyanese. I recognize, I think I heard the name, the past president, Mr. Donald Ramatar. We have with us here Mr. retired General Josing, among others, who have played a great role in promoting this idea that was born so many years ago. So today, this is both a happy and sad moment for me. Happy because we are gathered here to celebrate the achievement of a group of eminent persons who have distinguished themselves in their own respectful fields of chosen endeavors. A group of persons who are being recognized and awarded for their outstanding accomplishments, which set them apart from their contemporaries. I am saddened by the passing of the icon Anthony Sabga, the genius who made this moment possible, the man who made possible moments like this in years gone by. This man made possible for several persons to be given the opportunity to excel in their various areas of expertise. I saw the opportunity, it gave me the opportunity for exposure regionally and internationally. I know I have been, if not recognized, been spoken about in a way that gave me the encouragement to keep working towards the identity of our indigenous peoples, our Guyanese nation, and even to join hands with our Caribbean brothers and sisters. We have talent. It is rich, according to Mr. Sridhar Ramphal. We have this richness that we all need to cherish and we all need to promote. I've been able to achieve this award in 2010, as you heard. I benefited immensely from the countless opportunities which presented themselves following that recognition. I have done what any sober-minded person will do in a community, looking for solutions to the many issues that we every day see. But as my taking guidance from persons like my father, who always said, "You were given 5 senses. Look towards independence and not dependence. Look forward towards assisting one another. Look forward of uniting to overcome the many issues that you might have. Attack the issues rather than personalities." This contribution or this award caused me to be able to meet on a number of occasions in the past, and now I'm meeting some more tonight. Persons who have the willingness to give support to ideas that will be able to have us creating more opportunities for jobs and other recognition. And I would like to make a special emphasis here where, because of this opportunity, I was recognized, as I said earlier, by the coalition government, more so by the president himself, whom, when it was time to form the members of government, I was called upon, asked if I would be able to make a contribution. And because of the confidence in what I gathered from this award in 2010, I thought it gave me that inspiration and started to get me ready for this opportunity. And this opportunity I took. And I'm in it. And I'm hoping that I will do well. It is a great challenge, a very interesting challenge. But when you can find the right people, with the right direction, with the right mind, with the right will, things can happen. And here is where I met people like Annette Arjun, Mrs. Arjun, Mr. Suresh Narayan, and a number of others who also were awarded in their areas of expertise. And I would like to use this example of how things could work if we really want it to work. And I'd like to use this example tonight. You will be given a little gift that we call the Rupununi essence. This was one good example of identifying the product, identifying the natural resources as a means of economic growth. But it's not only to identify that natural resource, but it's how you bring it to the market, how you use the science to develop a product, how you use the media, or how you use information for marketing, and how you use persons who understand the business to mobilize and to promote. And this is what I found with the team that I'm talking about. And this, I've not been able to meet every one of the laureates, but here's where we had 4 persons working. One to promote a video, to show how this thing works, to put it on to a bigger audience. We had the scientist, who is Mr. Suresh Narayan, who found the right balance and the values, researched the values. And this is the crabwood oil. It's a tree that you could go every year to collect the seed without destroying that tree, and you benefit from that tree without destroying it. It's from the lemongrass oil. You plant more lemongrass, you get more oil. From the coconut tree, the oil, it's just how you blend it. And that was something that is so meaningful for the indigenous peoples, for the Guyanese population, to understand that we have things to celebrate, things that we can do with our own hands and our own imagination. And I could tell you, within 10 short months, the Makushi women of the North Rupununi had something close to $3 million profit, something that was never heard of. And this is all because we were able, through this Caribbean Award of Excellence, we were able to meet, combine our efforts, and make a product. You will experience that tonight, and you could tell me if it's good or bad later on. The next, it doesn't end there. We're now in the mountains of the Pacoremas. The Pacoremas, very rich in agricultural crops. We could grow onions there. We have been growing onions there. cabbages, potatoes that we call Irish potato and sweet potato, we grow all of that up there. The problem is, how do we compete with the markets here? So again, the science in it, dehydrate this stuff so you get it lighter, and then you bring it down to Georgetown to add value. So we have a food salad. This is dried tomato, food salad. We have tested it, it's excellent. You could talk to our people, we'd give you the connection so you could start ordering. We are about to have that processing system declared open. Before the year is out, we are going to be having products. In addition to that, there is another product that we are going to be putting on the market. It's even better than Milo. I don't know if you're all making Milo, but it's better than Milo. It's a purple potato that has always been in the hinterland. Through science, common sense, combination, and the others, we have been able to have that product. Excellent taste, very tasty, and it could go for our school feeding program. It could go to give support to the military, that they need energy. And it is also good for the heart. There are things out there, we just have to be looking for them. And here is where this wonderful experience of the award has brought us together and is continuing to go. Because life, this is what life means. And I'm so proud that I could say that Mr. Anthony Sabga taught this through. He was given that inspiration. And to be coming to Guyana, I think he knew what we had even before us. And that is why that approach. It has been a joy to work with this group of people. We're seeing the expansion of the ability to think creatively, opening up the imagination of what is there in the hinterland to help economic growth in such an environment without destroying the environment. We are aware of the importance of keeping an ecosystem healthy because we understand a lot of the laws of nature. We understand the relationship between the other relations that helps to manage the natural resources and more so the ecosystem. We understand the relationship to earthworm, to the monkeys, to the birds, to the trees, to the jaguar, to the fishes. We understand that is where real or true life is. And that is what we need to protect, to have it healthy so that we could all have a healthy life to look forward to. We also have been able to, through community-based tourism or ecotourism, identify the opportunity for economic growth right within a community. Because in ecotourism or community-based tourism, every single activity is there. Education, health, security, food, medicine, farming, transport, communication. We need all of this to have a proper business of ecotourism or community-based tourism to flourish, to prosper. As I would say to the persons from the developed world, we do not have what they would term 7-star, 5-star, 10-star hotels. What we have is 6 and 7-star forests. What I've learned here too, and I've been inspired by this award, and I've checked it across the country, in the communities, our communities and villages. We have done a lot of capacity building in all areas. So we have, you know what, one of the biggest things, the most recent, is conflict resolution. Conflict resolution. And sometimes I see those very people who goes to teach conflict resolution, they're in conflict confusion. So we've seen young, vibrant, willing people, strong. I've seen followers of young people follow. When you tell them to go, they follow. What we don't have are young, vibrant leaders. And that is where we are going. The government is supporting this process of developing young leaders through the HAZE program, and more so, we've had the support of the Bina Hill School for Learning, where we would develop the young indigenous leadership ambassador program, where we would be identifying, working with those young people over a 2-year period to see who are more inclined to leadership, and we will give them that opportunity. Actually, as I speak, we are about to have 8 young people coming into the university, the IAST, for training in the various areas: marketing, packaging, accounting, and this is supported again through IAST with the leadership of Professor Ryan. This is the way we're looking for the movement forward, looking for those opportunities with persons who could help us, regardless of their religious or ethnic background. Because we would like to see Guyana as a country like that of a rainbow. The rainbow, and I'm quite certain all of you know what a rainbow is. The rainbow is not beautiful because it is divided. It is beautiful because it is all together as one. And Guyana is like that if you check it out, because we love a cook-up too. I would like to say that we have so much to celebrate. So much to celebrate in the Caribbean, but more so for Guyana. I listen to some persons, well, I also have the opportunity to go to international conferences and so. And I've heard the remark that Guyana is like a honey hive. People are talking and they're excited about coming to Guyana, except the Guyanese. And sometimes you want to believe it, because we have been told so many times that we are poor or we are so badly off. We begin to believe and then we operate in a manner. This opportunity with the laureates here, I'm quite certain it's going to change or start to work on changing the mindset. Changing the mindset for a better Guyana. We have so much to celebrate. There is only one culture in the world. But we don't talk about it. We prefer to talk about something that is not relevant. We tend to share misleading stories, but we have so much to celebrate. We have to begin to use words that will allow us to feel needed, to feel that we are, or to know that we have riches, to know that we have a place to make a contribution. Hadn't it been for this laureate, this Caribbean Awards for Excellence, I would not have been here sharing this moment. So I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate all the recipients of the award from the inception, and in particular, the ladies and gentlemen who will today receive their award. This is the best and most fitting tribute to the founder and funder of this prestigious award. May his soul rest in peace and rise in glory. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Alicock, and congratulations on your entrepreneurship with the Makushi people. We now move on to the presentations to our 2017 laureates. The awards will be presented by Dr. A. Norman Sabga, Chairman and Chief Executive of the Ansel McCall Group, and Sir Sridhar Ramphal, Chairman of the Regional Eminent Persons Selection Panel. We will watch a brief video vignette describing each laureate's life and work, following which he or she will receive his or her award and thereafter make brief remarks. We will begin with Mr. Winslow Craig of Guyana, one of the laureates in arts and letters.
The romantic myth of the artist born gifted by the gods is as old as the Greek myth. But there is some truth to it, as such artists appear in the unlikeliest places, like the Guyanese interior.
Winslow, as you know, basically grew up doing art. He's from the Essequibo at a small village called Carrier. And he started out there where they don't have much in terms of art, but what he started doing is using the natural things in his community to make beautiful pieces of art.
When you grow up in the country, so the women go down to the river and they wash clothes, and you have something called a beater. Now, all the other women would have a beater that was just roughly chopped out by their husband, and that's what they use. But my mother, she always had a beater which was the envy of everybody, because my father carved it out with shapes of diamonds and hearts and inserts of red dukalibali and purple heart and yellow silver bali. So it was actually a work of art.
His talent was recognized early. he was awarded a scholarship to the Burrowes School of Art in Georgetown, where he was exposed early on to working artists. He explored the themes of nature, spirituality, and Guyanese and Caribbean life.
Everything that happened around me became, sort of influenced what was happening with me. It's like global situation, our political situation and social environment. Everything sort of fueled my thinking, and my imagination just took it and wove it into creative things.
Winslow was able to achieve a lot of unbelievable things that much artists have never thought of, especially in terms of the realistic form.
As his education continued with a scholarship to New Zealand, his range of interests and repertoire also grew.
And when he went to New Zealand, he interacted with the Maori people. And if you look at Winslow, and you look at the Maori, they look very much the same. The facial kind of thing. And I think he kind of connected there, and the people connected with him and merged into his philosophical, his philosophy, his background, the themes and so that he's doing. And something new happened.
When you look at an artistic piece, you just don't want to say it's beautiful. You want it to inspire you, to get you to think. And his work has that quality in it.
Craig's work continues to evolve, and as his reputation grows and more people are exposed to his imagination-expanding pieces, it pushes further his own limits. This includes a movement into an ecologically sensitive art practice.
There's a call from the president of this country, not only the president, even the previous president, they're saying that we should go green. And the green concept has nothing to do with color. It has to do with recycling, and those kind of things. And this is exactly what Craig is doing.
And then he's come up with a new technique called sawdu, which is really, here we have a lot of byproducts of wood. So for example, is sawdust from the wood. It usually go to waste. And what he has done is to use that byproduct, if you like, and with the addition of glues, have been able to fashion that into sculpture. So a number of things are happening there. Something that would have gone to waste, he's now making beautiful products out of it, beautiful sculptures out of it.
For all his achievement, Craig's work has a long way to travel to reach even his own people in the region.
No artist can exist in a vacuum. We need opportunities to go out, to see art, and so Winslow got the opportunity. And I think Winslow has reached a stage in his life where he needs to continue going out, but this time not only to learn, which he's going to do, but also to share what he has.
For these reasons, Winslow Craig has been named the Anthony and Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence Laureate in Arts and Letters for 2017.
His Excellency Brigadier David Granger, the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and First Lady Sandra. Sir Sridhar Trampal, Chairman of the Regional Eminent Persons Panel, Lady Rampal and other members of the panel and their spouses. Dr. A. Norman Sabga, Chairman and Chief Executive of the Ansa McCall Group, Patron of the Anthony N. Sabga Caribbean Award for Excellence. Directors of the Ansa McCall Foundation, Ansa McCall Group Deputy Chairman, Mr. David Sabga, and Guyana Country Head, Mrs. Beverly Harper, and the other executives of Ansa McCall Trading, Guyana. All praise and thanks be to God for this wonderful evening and all the blessings that comes with it. Good evening all. Before I formally accept this award, I would like to express my deepest and most sincere condolences on behalf of my family and myself, to the family, close relatives, and associate of the late Dr. Anthony N. Sabga. Dr. Sabga was a giant of a patriarchal figure who stood tall and strong among Caribbean peoples. He was a shining example of Caribbean patriotism and generosity. His absence will be felt for a long time, but his generous spirit will live on forever in the lives of many. While we mourn his passing, this evening is a celebration of his long and fruitful life. May his soul rest in peace. When I embarked on my artistic journey as a sculptor, it was not because I expected to be honored or to be rewarded for the work that I did, but rather recognizing that my talent was a divine blessing from God. I could do no less than honor him by giving thanks and striving to do the very best that I could do, and to be the very best that I can be every day of my life as a sculptor. It was never my objective to please anyone, but rather to allow creativity to flow with freedom into sculptural forms that reflected the very best of my artistic gift, and to share this gift with one and all. This evening, I am greatly honored that the Anthony Sabga Caribbean Award for Excellence has recognized my effort in my chosen field of sculpture and placed it on the pedestal of excellence. It is with great humility and much pleasure that I receive this honor as a laureate and accept this award for the recognition of my work in the category of arts and letters. I am proud and deeply moved to be placed among the esteemed and exalted company of the laureates who came before me. It is with the most profound gratitude that I say a heartfelt thank you to patron Dr. Norman Sabga and his father before him, and the Ansa McCall Foundation for this significant recognition of my work over the years. And I trust that as I look to the future, I will continue to do my very best to merit this honor that has been bestowed upon me this day. I encourage the Answer McCall Foundation and its esteemed Regional Eminent Persons Panel to continue supporting and promoting excellence in the Caribbean. And I applaud you for your shining example of excellence that you have been throughout the years to all Caribbean people. To Sir Sridhar Trampal and his distinguished colleagues of the Regional Eminent Persons Panel, thank you. To Dr. Sita Shaw Roth and members of the Guyana Country Nominating Committee, thank you. Thank you for seeing the merits of my work. To Ms. Roxana Kewal, persistent and relentless researcher, thank you. To my referees, Dr. Frank Anthony, Mr. Philbert Gajidar, and Mr. Shimel Jones, thank you all very much. I would also like to say thank you to my extended family, and some of them are across there, and they're all beautiful people. Especially my dear old mother and my now 4 years departed father, whose latent talent for carving blossomed in me as a sculptor. My 3 wonderful sisters, Deborah, Lola, and Barbara, and my 2 brothers, Henry and Stephen, who has throughout the years supported me in kind and in coin. But special thank you goes out to my beautiful, loving, and supporting wife, Joanne. And our 3 handsome sons, Jermaine, Tristan, and Joshua. You're all my inspiration and the joys of my life. I would also like to say thanks to all my former teachers, tutors, and lecturers. Gwen, thank you for the application form that opened the door to my career as an artist. Josefa Tamayo, you taught me the ABCs of sculpture. Thank you. Burrowes School of Arts, thanks for refining raw talent. The Commonwealth Foundation for Arts and Craft, thank you for providing the opportunity for me to expand and improve my capacity as an artist. To Castellani House, thank you for providing a home to some of my most significant work. The University of Guyana, thank you for providing the platform from which I can share and give back in a most meaningful way. To friends and colleagues, supporters of my career and lovers of my work, thank you all. To Philip Alsop, a dear friend, supporter and collector of my art over the years, thank you. To all those whose names I may have failed to mention, and to this distinguished gathering, thank you all. I conclude by extending warmest congratulations to my fellow laureates. All praise and thanks be to Almighty God. Thank you all, and a good evening to one another.
Thank you, Mr. Winslow Craig, and congratulations on your exemplary work in the arts. We move from Guyana to Trinidad and Tobago for our other laureate in arts and letters. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. Kwame Ryan of Trinidad and Tobago.
up in Trinidad in the 1970s amidst an active cultural movement of which his mother, Joya Gomez, was a part.
My mom, Joya Gomez, Joy Ryan at the time, was an actress, and so I spent a lot of my childhood watching rehearsals in the Little Carib and in Trinidad Tent Theatre, and certainly developed a love of the performing arts, and music in particular was something that was always in my family home in one form or another.
So his desire to make music his career was not surprising. But the scope was limited in Trinidad, and by age 12 he had reached the local limit.
Yeah, I went as far as I could in the Trinidad school system, and then at some point I needed to go away.
He went to the Oakham School in England, then to Caius College, Cambridge, and the Tübingen Academy in Germany. Even in an environment of highly talented individuals, his path was accelerated by his ability. His exceptional talent earned him a place in the British National Youth Orchestra. Between 1999 and 2003, he was the musical director of the city of Freiburg in Germany. A rare accomplishment for someone so young.
Before I came to UTT, I was a professional musician working in London and across the UK and Europe. I've known of Kwame Ryan for many years by reputation. Maestro Kwame Ryan, as we would call him in Europe, is somebody who reached the highest levels of his profession. He's highly respected and highly regarded internationally.
And in 2007, became director of the National Orchestra of Bordeaux, France, and later the National Youth Orchestra of France. He was honored by the government of France for his work. But mentoring young musicians led him to think about the musicians in Trinidad and Tobago who would not have access to the opportunities that he had.
I thought, here I am, having done this service for the nation of France, having mentored the musical youth elite of France. I wonder whether I could do something or something similar for the musical youth of Trinidad. And in 2012, I was invited by the Heroes Foundation to design and pilot a music mentorship program in partnership with UTT.
The invitation from the Heroes Foundation led to a concert in Trinidad in 2012, which brought local and international musicians together.
The program involved the collaboration of a number of musicians from my orchestra in Bordeaux with the faculty at the Academy for the Performing Arts.
He later wrote to the University of Trinidad and Tobago, proposing a program similar to the one in 2012. In 2013, he was appointed assistant professor at UTT and is now director of the Academy for Performing Arts.
Professor Ryan really brings an element of versatility to the Academy that is across genres and across instrumentation, as well as having an international reputation as a conductor in so many different types of music. Instead of people working in silos, he's able to kind of break down those walls and get people to work together. The people who are really making a living at this stuff are actually doing things that are experimental. So you have to start to learn to break down those walls, really, at a student level before you can do it professionally.
One of Ryan's most significant achievements was the Youth Musical Exchange program.
He's initiated such projects as Youth Music Exchange, which has provided opportunities for young musicians to go on exchange, have exchanges with their international counterparts, to have exposure and opportunity overseas.
Trinidad and Tobago's musical attention has been focused on the steel pan, but Ryan feels the country has not exhausted its musical potential.
Right now, at the Academy, we see the highest level of music making within the pan studio. That's entirely natural. It's the national instrument of Trinidad and Tobago. Our goal in the music department of the Academy is to see other instrumental areas and families achieve at the level of the pan studio.
As the director of the Academy for the Performing Arts, he has a vision which will really bring professional enhancements to the training of these young musicians and performing artists in general. And this in turn will raise standards of the graduates and bring the kind of recognition for its artistry and talents that Trinidad and Tobago truly deserves.
For these reasons, Kwame Ryan has been named the Anthony N. Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence Laureate in Arts and Letters for 2017.
Your Excellency, Brigadier David Granger, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and First Lady Sandra Granger, Sir Sridath Ramphal, Chairman of the Regional Eminent Persons Panel, Lady Ramphal and other members of the panel and their spouses, Dr. A. Norman Sabga, Chairman and Chief Executive of the Ansa Macau Group, and patron of the Anthony N. Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence, directors of the Ansa Macau Foundation, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. People often ask me what it is exactly that an orchestral conductor does. What, they ask, are those strange patterns traced through the air? And is the conductor vital to the performance, or rather a kind of ornamental figurehead? Most of all, they are fascinated by the stick and want to understand its seemingly magical properties. The scoop is as follows. The patterns are a code. The stick is an accessory. But the conductor himself is not dispensable because he or she is the source of the overarching idea that, moment for moment, makes 80 to 100 individual musicians into an orchestra in the first place. You see, in essence, conducting is the art of bringing diverse people with diverse talents and ideas together in the service of one common idea. This means not micromanaging, but rather inspiring and encouraging the musicians, interweaving their unique qualities into a whole greater than the sum of its parts. In the space thereby created, they hear each other, discover what their lines have in common, but also what makes them different. And they then occupy one stage from which they represent their common idea, be it composed of unison or counterpoint, contrast or connection. From the moment I arrived in Guyana and started meeting my fellow laureates, I was struck by the unmistakable familiarity of the experience I was having, but could not quite put my finger on it. Then this morning it dawned on me. I have become a player in a new ensemble. Just think, my fellow laureates and I are indeed diverse individuals of diverse talent, brought together to represent an idea. To be sure, we all play very different instruments, but in the course of just 24 hours, I have found myself, by turns, inspired, challenged, affirmed, and engaged by each and every one of them. Each of us follows his or her own line, but as we entered into this process, we became aware of the lines being followed by the others, and now have the opportunity to learn and transform as parts of a greater whole. I regret that I will not have the opportunity to meet the great conductor after whom these awards have been named, and to whose vision for the identification and nurturing of Caribbean excellence I hope to make a meaningful contribution in music and the other performing arts. I am, however, aware that the truly great conductors influence not only by their physical presence, but also by their ethos, which endures and remains enshrined in the institutions they have led. Going forward, my Youth Music Exchange, or YMX as it is commonly known, will unite musicians of diverse backgrounds and traditions, but common love of music, and will commit to offering to its international community of students the benefit of what I feel so privileged to now enjoy. I refer to timely encouragement, the recognition of hard work and tenacity, and the inspiration to set goals higher and with greater scope than ever thought possible. Between now and the end of July, YMX, the Youth Music Exchange, will welcome to Trinidad and Tobago 6 young percussionists between the ages of 16 and 23 from the US, the UK, Colombia, and Canada to participate in a 2-week residence with their peers from the Caribbean, and will then later send 2 very talented and aspiring guitarists from Trinidad and Tobago to participate in a music camp in Pittsburgh along with their international peers. I'm delighted to say that just a few weeks before I arrived here in Guyana, the University of Guyana reached out to YMX to inquire as to whether we could work here and bring the work that we do to bear, to bring together musicians of Guyana with musicians of Trinidad, and we committed to do that. When I see the work that we are doing now and the work that is yet to come, I simply cannot imagine a more rewarding challenge to undertake. Thanks to my mother for unwavering support over many years. Thanks also to my father for strong support even after initial wavering. Only due to his concern that going into the cutthroat performing arts business I might not actually eat. Thanks to all the mentors that have guided me in my studies and in my career. Heartfelt thanks, of course, to the Trinidad and Tobago Nominating Committee, represented here by its chair, Mr. Vincent Pereira, and of course to the Ansa Macau Foundation for this honor. And finally, thanks to you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for being here this evening to share this experience with me and my fellow laureates. Thank you and good evening.
Congratulations, Mr. Kwame Ryan. Indeed, music is in the soul of every Caribbean person. So thank you for using music to unite us regionally and internationally. Thank you. And now from Trinidad and Tobago, we move to the Isle of Spice, Grenada. And welcome Miss Shadek Nyack Compton, the laureate in entrepreneurship.
If there is one institution which has dominated Caribbean history and life from the beginning, it is the plantation. The plantation's legacy has been economic stagnation, a destroyed work ethic, and an aversion to innovation. But Shadek Nyack Compton of Grenada has changed all that.
What she's been doing feels miraculous, because it's like she's taken a raw plantation and turned it into a delicate entity that has a strong point of reference on history and culture.
Miss Nyack Compton's grandparents were the first Indo-Grenadians to purchase a plantation and transform it into a productive enterprise.
Belmont Estate is a historic plantation and it dates back to the 1600s. It was first owned by a French family, then came into the hands of Scottish and English, and eventually my grandparents, that's Norbert and Lyris Nyack, bought the estate in 1944. Norbert Nyack died in 1969, and after his passing, I had seen, over the years, the estate move from being profitable and productive and, a very lucrative business to one that became very unproductive and that declined tremendously after my grandfather's death.
Out of a sense of loyalty to her home and to fulfill a wish of her grandmother, Mrs. Nyack Compton decided to give up her plans to practice law in the US and take on the family business. It was not a choice many people supported.
I decided that I didn't want to take the path of traditional agriculture, so I looked at diversifying now into agribusiness and agritourism. I thought Belmont Estate was just the perfect venue to create an agritourism experience for visitors. So I tried to get a sense of whether this was a good product for the Grenada market. And unfortunately, I didn't get good reception, not from the financiers, not from people in tourism and agriculture.
When she shared with me her vision about going into this venture, I myself warned her or cautioned her that it may in fact not be successful. Obviously, she's proven me wrong.
She's not afraid, from my experience, to take risks, because if you're not prepared to take risks, you are not going to be successful.
Shadek is a wonderful example of what can be done, a little bit of imagination, a little bit of drive, a little bit of vision.
She launched the new Belmont in 2002 and all was going well. Unfortunately, nature intervened and Belmont was leveled by not one but two hurricanes, Ivan in 2004 and Emily in 2005.
Hurricane Ivan did give us the opportunity to restructure our business plan and to recreate Belmont Estate the way we needed it to.
The renewed estate has seen a steady increase in visitors, growth in production, and has plans to branch into production of its own brand of organic chocolate.
We will be the single source from the tree to the bar in terms of chocolate, and it's going to be organic chocolate. Belmont is certified as an organic farm by the organic certifiers Ceres from Germany. This certification is done every year.
In addition to running a successful business in terms of the balance sheet, her successes go further, through the enriching of the environment and the human capital.
She has community outreach activities which have really nothing to do with the operation of Belmont, but which are guided towards the development of the community.
Belmont has in fact revived what used to be an economically depressed area.
Now, Belmont is situated in St. Patrick's, and the last poverty survey that was done, St. Patrick's had the highest level of poverty. But she created employment that is significant for her area, immediate area in St. Patrick's. And out of that, for example, came a cooperative, which is still
existing and reasonably successful.
Sometimes we're in business, our eyes focus on just the money, and we forget the people. Some of the happiest workers you will find in the country is at that state, at that institution. And that's a clear demonstration of the quality of the person.
And this is the sign of the truly gifted entrepreneur, one who is able to serve the community in which her business operates and provide avenues for the future.
Shadek is a person that young people would call to find out, how did you do this? Tell me, because we are thinking of a business now. And yes, it is totally different from what you are doing, but business is business. So how do you do it?
Another aspect of it is your willingness to serve. You can't ask her to do anything for the country, whether it's standing on boards, whether it's representing the country in any area, she will be there.
For these reasons, Shadek Nyack, Compton of Grenada, is the Anthony and Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence Laureate in Entrepreneurship for 2017.
President, His Excellency, Mr. David Granger, Sir Shadek Rampal and Lady Rampal, Dr. Norman Sabga, Mr. David Sabga, Excellencies, Ministers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is indeed a very special evening for me, for all of us. It feels like the Oscars, and I will accept this as Grenada's Oscar tonight. It is really great to be here in Guyana. We have had the best hospitality here. Your Excellency, Mr. President, thank you so much for hosting us, for taking the time to invite us into your office, and for all the time that you spent with us. For the hotel staff, the Anthony Sabga family, everyone that we've met here in Guyana has been exceptionally hospitable to us, and I will take this great news of the hospitality offered here to my people of Grenada, so that we too can continue to achieve such high standards of hospitality on our Spice Isle. Thank you so very much. I want to take this opportunity on behalf of my family and also of people of Grenada to express deepest sympathies to the family of Dr. Anthony Sabga. I had the distinct privilege of meeting him exactly 2 months ago when I visited his offices to meet with Raymond and Maria. And Maria said to me, "Would you like to meet Dr. Sabga?" And of course I said, "Sure, I would love to." I was a bit anxious about meeting, this incredible man, but once I got into his office, he immediately put me at ease, and I was really flabbergasted that, this giant of a business magnate was so mild-mannered, so humble, so gentle, and so easy to talk to. He was very interested in my business, and immediately he started to dispense business advice that I most graciously accepted. He even went on to say, we are going to work with you and, see what you're doing in your business. But he gave me this little caveat. He said, no, I won't come and take over your business, not to worry. So I was relieved when he said that. We spoke of the future, and I looked forward to making him proud by expanding my business ventures as a result of this award. I left his office feeling very inspired and on top of the world. So of course, when I received the news of his death, I was, deeply hurt and deeply saddened. I really was looking forward to learning at his feet. So I'm hoping that Dr. Norman here and Mr. David would still allow me that opportunity to learn from your feet. The legacy he has left behind has been an inspiration and will continue to be an inspiration for all of us and to all Caribbean people. By his passing, I'm even more inspired to honor his legacy of excellence and service. I want to thank God, first of all, for all of his rich blessings and all the opportunity that he has afforded me to serve him and to serve others through my business. I wish to sincerely thank the Ansa McCall Foundation for its recognition of my work and for the bestowal of this grand award. I am deeply honored and humbled and appreciative. I also thank you for making this award non-gender specific. This allows women to be recognized in fields that have been traditionally men-dominated. And the person's gender should neither be a hindrance or an advantage. Great work should be rewarded regardless of gender. So thank you. To my nominator, Dr. Beverly Steele, I stand here today because of you. Thank you for believing in me, even persisting when I wanted to graciously bow out. Thank you for your mentorship. Thank you for your encouragement. I am committed to inspiring others the same way that you inspired me. Thank you also to Dr. Charmaine Gardner, to the OECS CNC chair who I just recently met, but who I learned last night was a fantastic advocate for me before the EPP. Thank you very much, Dr. Gardner. Also to the eminent persons panel, thank you for seeing the merit in the work that I have done and for the selection you have made. I promise that we will make you proud. To my referees, to all of the persons who have helped to get me here, I say thank you. When my journey with Belmont Estate began, I never envisioned that it would have blossomed into the business it has today, contributing to the developmental goals of Grenada and impacting the many lives that it has. Being nominated has been the catalyst for deep introspection on my behalf, and the underlying theme has been gratitude. I am deeply grateful to God for my mom, who is sitting here at the front. She and Papa have raised me to be God-fearing, honest, compassionate towards others, and to live by the golden rule of service, sacrifice, and passion. Mom, I still remember this little poem that you taught me, and I thought nothing of it then, and I think we all know it. Good, better, best, never let it rest, till you make the good better and the better best. And that was excellence in the making. I am everything that I am today because of you. Thank you for your unflinching support. Even when you didn't understand or you didn't agree, you still supported me. And thanks for being here today with me. I hope that I can be as good a mother as you were to me, to Anna and Benno, and so that they too can live a life of passion, making a contribution to this world so that it could be a better place. Anna and Benno, I love you both. Thank you for filling my life with love and laughter. I'm also grateful for the tremendous support of all my family and friends, represented today by Dr. Decima Williams, Justice Shiraz Aziz, and Dr. Barry Aziz. Thank you for your support. My team of about 100 loyal staff at Belmont Estate have stuck with me through thick and thin. They have sacrificed, they have believed in me. When we started, we were about 10, and they had to see this dream and vision through my eyes. Back then, Belmont Estate was undeveloped. They had to see my vision of tourists driving an hour from St. George's to come and visit this authentic plantation experience when all they could see was Belmont full of bush, and the only visitors that we had to Belmont Estate then were sandflies. But they still believed. They stood with me through hurricanes and some devastating personal tragedies. They too are my family. Belmont Estate belongs to them. I'd like to recognize several of the team that are here with me today: Phoebe, Jillian, Katrina, Alicia, Rochelle, and Dwayne. My heart goes out to you for all that you do every day. Thank you for living the Belmont Estate mission of sustainability and life enrichment. I must say thanks also to all our stakeholders, partners, and customers who have helped to take Belmont to where it is today. Thank you. I am also grateful that I live in a country that provides an enabling environment for me as a woman to establish a business and to see it grow, and for our government's strong policy position towards supporting business development in the areas of agribusiness, agritourism, and value-added manufacturing. As the OECS candidate with St. Vincent origins and strong St. Lucia ties, I also pay homage to the OECS, and in particular because of the significant contribution that St. Lucia has made to my life. Delivering excellence at Belmont Estate has required me on many occasions to step outside of my comfort zone and to define my own route to my destination. And sometimes success was only possible because of my dogged determination. This is not a journey for the faint at heart. It requires one to take risks, overcome disasters, find solutions, and to recognize that somewhere in the midst of the successes and failures is the reality. I have learned, as Kipling says in his poem If, to meet with triumph and disasters and treat those two imposters just the same. As a Caribbean entrepreneur, I would like to encourage women and young people to pursue careers in agribusiness and agritourism. Yes, farming is fun. Yes, agriculture is sexy. In this region, we are blessed with beautiful landscapes, fertile land, industrious and hospitable people, rich heritage and culture. In this age of technology, the internet has given us full access to information. Our communication and transportation networks have connected us globally. We need to harness the opportunities that we have to ensure food security for the region and lessen our food import bills. Strong regional policies that support private sector development in sustainable agriculture and tourism initiatives in the Caribbean can drive manufacturing, food production, export, visitor arrivals, and can make a positive difference in our economies. My personal dream is that in my country, we would optimize on our destination branding, Pure Grenada, the spice of the Caribbean, by committing to organic farming, ensuring clean, healthy, safe foods for our people, improving their health, and protecting the environment at the same time. For over 200 years, Belmont Estate has been producing cocoa and selling cocoa beans. This year, we were pleased to start a chocolate factory, and by this award, we are going to be able to complete our chocolate factory, where we'll be manufacturing organic dark chocolate from tree to bar, that's fair trade certified for export. We're also grateful that we have an MOU collaboration with the Cocoa Research Center at the University of the West Indies to help us ensure that we have high quality standards throughout the entire value chain for cocoa and chocolate production, and this award is also going to help us to execute that MOU. In addition, we have some other value-added initiatives that we are going to pursue. We are going to extend our goat dairy production from just doing goat cheese to also doing feta cheese. And we are also expanding into a line of teas, organic spices, condiments, jams, jellies, confectionery sauces, and so on. So this award money has a lot of stretching to do. We are proud that Belmont Estate has been able to transition from just being a core farm to agritourism and now to agricultural food manufacturing. And this award is going to really help to ensure the sustainability and the profitability of our country, so that we can of our company, so that we can continue to make a contribution to our country and continue to develop our people. In closing, I would like to congratulate the other laureates, my new friends. I am pleased to be in the company of such distinguished gentlemen. I stand in awe of your genius, your work, and your contributions. And I challenge you, let us bear the Anthony Sabga torch high. By his passing provides us a greater opportunity to honor his legacy of passion, excellence, philanthropy, and service. To the Ansel McCall Foundation, I think the greatest expression of appreciation would be my commitments to further development, brand excellence, inspiration, and service. I further want to invite you to host your next award ceremony in Grenada. So that, like Guyana, we get to thank you with our kind hospitality and share with you the wonders of the spice of the Caribbean. Ladies and gentlemen all, thank you for being here. Thank you for your tremendous support to all of us. May God bless you, and do enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you, Ms. Shadek Compton, the only female laureate for this evening, and portraying the indomitable will of woman, and more so the Caribbean woman. And from the Isle of Spice, we move to the land of hospitality. Thank you, Shadek. Back to Guyana we go. And it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Christopher Arif Bulkan, who will receive the Public and Civic Contributions Award.
Caribbean societies are relatively young, and in many of them, histories of oppression linger in the real lives of people and communities. Constitutional attorney and academic Dr. Arif Bulkan has offered himself as an advocate on behalf of two of the most marginalized of these communities, the indigenous peoples and the LGBT community.
His most remarkable achievement was basically working for the government of Guyana and drafting the Armenian Act in 2000, which of course was the first such act in this part of the world.
As an academic, he has provided training to the Guyanese civil society movement broadly through SASOD as the founder and secretariat of a civil society network called the Guyana Equality Forum. Civil society activists across Guyana benefited from human rights training at which Arif and Tracy Robinson were co-facilitators on numerous occasions over the years in Guyana.
Many people are victims of oppression, but only a special few are motivated to act by it.
My interest in human rights started at a very young age. When I was growing up, I think, in a very repressive environment in Guyana in the late 70s and 80s. So it was a period when political and civil rights were under severe threat. There wasn't a free media, people couldn't hold demonstrations or marches, and it was being exposed to that, I think, created my sensibilities.
Dr. Bulkan was educated in Guyana, then the UWI, University College of London, and Osgood Law School in Canada, where he did his doctoral work on the impact of colonialism on indigenous rights in Guyana. As his education progressed, he returned to Guyana to work with the DPP, teach at the university, and for private practice. In 2008, he was hired by UWI Cave Hill, where his activist work entered another phase when he met Tracy Robinson and Douglas Menz, and the organization URAP was born.
We formalized it in this project called University of the West Indies Rights Advocacy Project, or URAP.
It is in this sphere that Bulkan is able to be most effective as an academic, a litigator, and an educator.
We have scholars, but they may not be great advocates. We have advocates, they may not be great scholars. I think Arif is both a scholar and an advocate.
His effect on social issues was made manifest in his impact on his students from his days as a part-time lecturer at the University of Guyana.
I know Dr. Bulkan since 2001 when I was a first-year student at the University of Guyana. Initially, when conversations were started about the formation of SASOD in 2003, he was involved in those preliminary conversations.
He worked with communities over the years through non-governmental organizations like Conservation International, Iwakrama, where they would go out and consult with communities on indigenous land rights, indigenous rights and responsibilities.
His advocacy in what started as a small case in Guyana could be the spark that burns down institutionalized bigotry to the LGBT community.
Life is very difficult for transgender women in Guyana. Access to housing, access to education. Transgender persons are being bullied out of school from a young age. They have no existing job opportunities. And with the help of Dr. Bulkan, who's very supportive, we're hoping that this loss can be changed.
URAP had planned to institute litigation in Belize. However,
just before we actually filed the case in Belize, there was a report as well in Guyana of the arrest and fining conviction of 7 cross-dressers. The police had recently started using this law, but invariably against very poor people, and that's the reality of these kinds of vagrancy laws. They tend to be applied against the poorest of the poor.
Taking up the rights of lesbians, bisexuals, gay and transgender people might seem to go against the grain of regional sentiment.
LGBT or litigation on behalf of LGBT persons is unpopular because the issue itself is unpopular in the Caribbean. The debates around this tend to be hijacked against the most vocal, who we are never clear that they are in a majority. In fact, the few polls that have been done, some by cadres in Barbados, around public opinion, show that increasingly, especially younger persons in the Caribbean, are more tolerant.
While the LGBT community would directly be affected by the outcome of the litigation, the potential effects of Bulkan's work are much broader.
We haven't quantified the benefits of our project regionally, but we are aware of the quantifiable benefits in terms of, because of the studies that have been done elsewhere, so that persons who are not criminalized or not otherwise excluded can pursue other more meaningful occupations and contribute to society.
his work is grounded in the Caribbean. When we studied law, there were practically no textbooks available to us as students written by Caribbean authors. Now that has changed, and Arif has made a significant contribution to that.
For these reasons, Dr. Christopher Arif Bulkan has been named the Anthony and Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence Laureate in Public and Civic Contribution for 2017.
As of last year, I need these as well. Your Excellency, Brigadier David Granger, President of the Cooperative Republic, Honorable Vice President and Ministers of Government, the Honorable Sir Shridat Ramphal and Lady Ramphal, Dr. Norman Sadler, members of the Eminent Persons Panel, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you all. Before I begin, I'd like to join the previous speakers in expressing my regret at the passing of the original patron of these awards, Dr. Anthony Sabga, and to extend to his family and his associates my sincere sympathies. As noted already, Dr. Sabga's life and legacy will live on for a very long time, not just because of his own tremendous accomplishments, but also because, more powerfully, through the people he has empowered and the organizations and the work that he has encouraged and made possible by his generous philanthropy. And as well, I think, through the countless others throughout this region who will in turn be inspired to aim for excellence like him. I make this observation using the word excellence as a general comment on the stated purpose of this award, and in no way is embracing it as a description of what I've done. Like Winslow, when I started this and when I do this, it's not for any hope of reward or recognition. This has been entirely unexpected. Like Shadek, I wanted to drop out myself and would have, but for the persistence, the relentless persistence of Roxana, the Guyana researcher. Roxana, thank you very much. I don't see you, but I wasn't being intentionally difficult. It's just that the label excellence seems very far removed from what I do. But thank you. And as well, my own feelings of being singled out when what I do is so very collaborative. As you've seen from the vignette, much of my work is collaborative and in association with my wonderful colleagues at the UWI and elsewhere, here in Guyana as well, and elsewhere in the Caribbean. The University of the West Indies Rights Advocacy Project, or URAP as we call it, has been a very collaborative exercise and undertaking. And I must mention, at the heart and soul of URAP is my colleague at UWI Mona, Tracy Robinson. Tracy is tireless, she's unyielding, she's diligent, she's dedicated, she's supremely clever. but clever and extremely altruistic as well, a tireless advocate for the rights of others. I am extremely enriched by my knowledge of Tracy, by my friendship with Tracy, and I wish to acknowledge and honor our very special and productive and sustaining friendship and relationship, and to express to her my profound gratitude. I know you've seen a bit about Europe, but just to give you a bit of an update as to what the kinds of things that Europe does. Ambitiously, we aim to promote human rights, equality, and social justice in the Caribbean. A big task, but we aim to do that slowly, incrementally, ploddingly, through strategic litigation, research, advocacy, capacity building, teaching, and public education. As you've seen, we've initiated 2 cases in the Caribbean, one in Belize and one in Guyana, that seek to dismantle colonial-era laws that criminalize particularly members of the LGBT community. But what we've been doing since then, those cases were filed a long time ago, and they're still wending their way through the court systems of Belize and Guyana. But what we've been doing since then includes as well research and multidisciplinary research as well, which is something that our legal education has sort of ignored. It's always been black letter law. What is the law? And what we've tried to move into in terms of our research and the research we sponsor is how law relates to society, the impact and effect of laws. And so with that multidisciplinary research, hoping to influence policy and laws for the better, we aim as well, as far as possible, to provide opportunities for our students to engage in real-time cases, to put into practice what they learn in the classroom, an experience that for them, they tell us, is very enriching. And just quickly, we've recently, last year, formed a collaboration with the Caribbean Vulnerable Communities, which is a coalition, an NGO human rights organization in the Caribbean based in Jamaica, but which has just recently gotten some funding from the Global Fund on a 3-year project to strengthen. Our role is to undertake a series of activities to strengthen the capacity of regional lawyers to provide pro bono services and strategic litigation assistance for a series of vulnerable populations in the Caribbean, particularly in seven territories, including the Dominican Republic. Just to give you an idea of the communities that we work with for this project, they include at-risk youth, migrant workers, LGBT persons, drug users, sex workers, and trans persons. And as I said, it's in seven countries. So URAP's work is beyond LGBT or trans or one particular community, and it's also not centered in one country, but fairly regional, and embracing multiple forms of strategies or interventions, and targets in particular some of the most marginalized and stigmatized communities. As we see it, for them, it's very difficult for them to speak for themselves, and because of the prejudice and stigma, advocates on their behalf are very hard to come by, and this is the responsibility that we feel, to speak for others who can't speak for themselves. Having said all of that, in no way do I feel that anything that I do is excellent or special or unique. I know that there are many who work tirelessly, quietly, and what I do, I am acutely conscious, pales in comparison to the tremendous advantages and benefits that I have been blessed with. Not the least of which is an extremely supportive community of friends and family, colleagues, teachers, and co-workers. A lot of people can legitimately and justifiably claim to have played a part in my
support and nurturing and growth. And while it's impossible for me to mention everyone, I would like to single out a few. First and foremost, my mom. I've always said that I won the lottery of life by having the mother that I do. I'm not in a financial sense, but just a mother whose singular purpose has been to care for and live for me and my 6 siblings, and who has had to do this every day for the past 44 years, I think, on her own since my dad died. I think now as an adult who's lived selfishly, without children, how daunting that must have been. But yet my mother never complained. Mom, I owe you a debt that is unrepayable, but thank you very much. And if I said just now on her own, I apologize to my siblings, my 6 siblings, and in particular the eldest 3, who have been surrogate parents to me, and the other 4 as well, and the lower 4. I've never said this, I think, but the three eldest in my family have been parents to me as well, and for that I am truly grateful. Vanda, I see you clapping because of Janet. But for the others as well, and all my siblings, I'd like to say that in them, each of them reflect the lessons and teachings of my parents, of humility and strong work ethic, and above all, integrity. And in them I see an example that I strive to emulate, and which makes me always feel inadequate, not being able to live up to the example that they have set in their own lives. So to them, I say, to all of them, thank you very much. As I said, I have an enormous family, and in particular some cousins who are with me tonight, who believe I can do anything. It's an exaggerated belief, but I can never disabuse them of that. One of them just WhatsApped me from Canada, Shalisa. But they have this exaggerated notion that I can do anything. To them, it's that false as it is, it's been tremendously encouraging. It's just a good feeling to have that kind of support. I thank you, Auntie May, coming from so far to be with me. I do appreciate that. Joel, who's been unfailingly supportive to me for all of these years. I know you think that I don't notice, but I do, and I thank you. And finally, my colleagues. I see Nigel here. I don't know if Gino's here. But two of them who have been, among many others, but here in Guyana, who have been unfailingly supportive in our litigation and in some of our other work. But more than anything else, Tracy and Alisa Trotz. Tracy and Alisa, who are like my 2 bosses, who give me instructions every day, but who make me a more diligent and more ethical human being. So to all of you, thank you very much. And finally, I wish to thank the Ansa McCall Foundation. This very generous award, believe it or not, could not have come at a more fortuitous time. Our funding, as I said, we have 2 cases that are still not completed. One, the appeal comes up in Belize this year, and the other in the CCJ, hopefully, sometime soon, but not soon enough because our funding ends in 2 months. Our funding ends, and even though we haven't finished, we'd have to give back what we have. So this has incredibly come at such good timing, and I thank you very much. On behalf of myself and you. But more than the monetary dimension, what I am particularly appreciative for is what this award represents. And I'm grateful not just to the Ansa McCall Foundation, but also to the respective panels, the Eminent Persons panel, and the country, the the nominating country, the Guyana Nominating Committee, and researcher, who have voted for me because of what this award signals. And what I mean is that while many of us can jump on the train of equality, if it's indigenous peoples, if it's cancer, if it's any of the causes that we might have heard today, Europe works with some of society's most marginalized, most stigmatized, most looked down upon, most excluded. And in fact, that was one of the reasons that someone said to me, oh, you couldn't get this award because the work you do is so on the edge. I think the enlightenment, I don't know if it's bravery or the vision of the panel in choosing me and my work, for me, is a rejection of the prejudice that those communities face, and that is the most meaningful thing to me. In the face of all the setbacks and challenges and the plodding that we as lawyers have to do, and not to mention my own feelings of inadequacy, this award is enormously encouraging. And once again, I close in thanking all, past and present, who have made this possible. So Sridat, I'm a very far way from Tagore's exhortations, but this award signals to me that I can't stop trying. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Arif, proud son of the soil, and we want you to continue your fearless fight against stigma and discrimination and for basic human rights. To all the laureates, we say thank you very much. May I ask you to join in a round of applause for our 4 laureates. Well deserving indeed. Thank you, Sashrida, and thank you, Dr. Sabga. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your warm show of appreciation for our laureates who have contributed significantly to the development of our region and indeed the world. As if not all of you might know, the founder and the patron of these awards, Dr. Anthony N. Sabga, passed away on the 3rd of May and was buried in Trinidad and Tobago earlier this week. I now invite his son, Dr. A. Norman Sabga, the chairman and chief executive of the Ansa Makal Group, to address you on the life of Dr. Anthony N. Sabga. That will be followed by a brief video of Dr. Sabga's life.
Your Excellency, David Granger, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, distinguished members of government, Sir Trithridath and Lady Ramphal, honored guests, members of the Ansa Caribbean Award laureates, including the Honorable Sidney Allicock, the Ansa Makal family, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to be with you this evening to speak on behalf of Dr. Anthony N. Sabga, who passed away on May 3rd. While these awards have lost its first patron, it has not lost its purpose nor its resolve. I'm therefore very proud to stand before you this evening and declare that the Anthony N. Sabga Awards for Excellence program will continue, and the ANSA Foundation will continue to support and reward excellence throughout our regions for many years to come. The Anthony N. Sabga Awards for Excellence was something very dear to my father. Excellence was a trait that he perpetuated throughout his life. It was visible in the way he thought, in the way he acted, and the manner in which he inspired. The Anthony N. Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence represents to Dr. Sabga an ideal to inspire our Caribbean people to dream big and to challenge themselves constantly to be not just champions of local causes, but to see past our shores and region and to think on a global scale to be truly excellent. Since its inception of these awards in 2005, the awards program has evolved and the recognition of the actual awards have grown. This takes a significant amount of effort, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the committees who make these awards a reality. I salute the laureates for being awarded this evening, and above all, I salute the laureates who have been awarded this evening above all others. You have made the Caribbean proud, and it is our honor to recognize your contribution to the region. In keeping with Dr. Sabga's legacy, we will continue to inspire great thinking and great efforts and great works, and will continue to be inspired by what we, the Caribbean people, are capable of. Congratulations.
He was just 7 years old when he came to Trinidad to meet his father in 1930. His first days at school were difficult ones. Later in his life, he admitted to feeling alone, not knowing the language of this new land.
I remember very, very vividly when one of the teachers in the associate school came and sat down next to me and put his arm around me, comforted me. What he told me, I couldn't understand what he was saying, and I couldn't communicate with him. And that was an area where it was very, very difficult.
In his teenage years, he had no choice but to shed those fears as he left school and entered his father's haberdashery business on Queen Street. From a very young age, he played a major role in the establishment.
I was about 14 years of age when I found myself in my father's little store, trying to manage it. He left the country and went back to Syria because he was not well. And for what reason, I don't know, but he just felt that he should go to Lebanon to restore his health. And there was I trying to run a little store and had very little education. And it's amazing. What would you expect?
Eventually, young Anthony Sabga thought it was time to branch out on his own. He looked for a need in this country and sought to fill it. It was the birth of standard distributors and the introduction of brand new marketing techniques never before seen in this country.
We used a Volkswagen van, which was a flat top. We put 6 refrigerators on it. And we'll go out, leave the city and we'll go out. Wherever we see an electrical connection, we'll go into the people and tell the people in person. We are giving out refrigerators on demonstration. Would you like to have one? Refrigerator on demonstration? What do you mean? People thought we were crazy.
As his business thrived, so did his personal life. In 1948, he married Minerva Sabga, a woman with whom he would raise 6 children. A change in national policy saw him move from a commission agency business to establish Answer Industries, a local appliance manufacturer. From there, his attention turned to printing and publishing, and the Answer conglomerate began to take shape. By the 1980s, he was in a position to see the opportunity in the ailing McEnany Alston's group. His $40 million injection turned the organization around and gave birth to the Answer McCall brand.
Everything is possible. Whether the desire is there. If you only have a motivation, or if you have a mentor that you will keep your mind concentrated, and that manifests to achieve that objective, eventually you get there.
Anthony Sabga's vision and foresight have been recognized with numerous accolades over the decades. He has been awarded the Order of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and an honorary doctorate by the University of the West Indies. And he has also given back. The Answer McCall Foundation supports numerous charitable ventures and awards Caribbean visionaries through the Anthony N. Sabga Caribbean Awards for excellence. All he asks is that others follow in his footsteps.
Follow what I have done. Set an example by my own life. It's the only true way of doing it.
Indeed, that's the only true way. As we come to the conclusion of the formal part of our ceremony, I invite Ms. Maria Superville Nielsen, the Secretary of the Answer McCall Foundation and Program Director of these awards, to deliver the closing remarks. Ms. Nielsen?
Thank you, Madam Chair. His Excellency, Brigadier David Granger, the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Chancellor of the Judiciary, Justice Yonette Cummings Edwards, Speaker of the National Assembly, Dr. the Honourable Barton Scotland and Mrs. Scotland, Vice Presidents of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Ministers of the Cabinet of Guyana, Sir Sridath Ramphal, Chairman of the Regional Eminent Persons Selection Panel, Lady Ramphal, and other members of the panel and their spouses. Dr. A. Norman Sabga, Chairman and Chief Executive of the Answer McCall Group and patron of the Anthony N. Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence. 2017 laureates, Mr. Winslow Craig, Mr. Kwame Ryan, Ms. Nyack Compton, and Dr. Christopher Arif Bulkan. Former President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Mr. Donald Ramatar. Answer McCall Deputy Chairman, Mr. David Sabga. Guyana Country Head, Mrs. Beverly Harper, and other executives of the Answer McCall Trading Guyana. Members of the nominating committees from Guyana, Barbados, Jamaica, the OECS, and Trinidad and Tobago. Directors of the Answer McCall Foundation. Standing laureates of previous years. Executives of Answer McCall and members of the Sabga family. Members of the media. Members of our streaming audience. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Tonight, you have witnessed and participated in our 9th awards ceremony of our 12th year. Each award ceremony is different and special, as the laureates whom we honor display their unique and inspiring definitions of excellence. This year is even more significant because we have moved from our home base in Trinidad and Tobago to Guyana. It was an obvious choice, since we now have 9 Guyanese laureates. Out of a total of 31 laureates, and also because we have a significant Ansa presence in this country. And yet another thing marks this ceremony, makes it important, different, and special. We are realizing a dream of our former patron, Dr. Anthony N. Sabga, whom we lost just a few days ago. He envisioned the need to recognize as a means of inspiring coming generations to be their own saviors. He wished to show them the excellence they have produced and can produce. As you have heard, these awards will continue as a living memory of him and what he stood for. And just as Alfred Nobel's foundation lives on a century after his death, we repeat Dr. Sabga's assurance that the Anthony N. Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence will live on. We will continue until they become ingrained in the Caribbean's consciousness, associated with integrity, hope, excellence, and generosity of spirit. These are the qualities and values that guided Dr. Sabga's life. Organizing a ceremony of this nature could not have been possible without the assistance of many people. On behalf of the directors of the Ansa Foundation and on my own behalf, I wish to thank our Guyanese event planners and communications team, Red Entertainment, who were professional and prompt in delivering our demanding requests. The Marriott Hotel and their team, who accommodated us, went all out to ensure our comfort as we conducted our business. Mrs. Beverly Harper, our Ansa country head, and her assistant, Thelma Bullen, we depended on them heavily for connection and coordination, and they were unflagging. Thank you. All our transport providers who were punctual, courteous, and efficient, we thank them as well. I thank our laureates for agreeing to accept these awards. It's always a very special time for me when I have to call them and tell them they have won. It's a time like no other. But I remind them that we look forward to them continuing their work and taking it to greater heights. Dr. Bulkan, who has taken the plight of marginalized communities into the mainstream. Mr. Ryan, who has brought European classical forms into the bosom of the Caribbean. Ms. Nyack Compton, who has brought an aura of style, desirability, and profitability to agriculture. Mr. Craig, who invites us to see the world anew through the eyes of his mind-expanding works. Thank you all. To our 2010 laureate, the Honorable Sidney Allicock, thank you for agreeing to be our featured speaker for this evening. Integral to these awards is the professional, insightful discernment of the Regional Eminent Persons Selection Panel, headed by Sushridath Ramphal, and our nominating committees in Barbados, Jamaica, the OECS, Trinidad and Tobago, and here in Guyana, who do the initial sifting, and our researchers who prepare the dossiers and thoroughly vet prospective candidates. Thank you for your most invaluable work. To His Excellency, Mr. Anthony Thomas Aquinas Carmona, ORTTSC, thank you for providing the foreword for our 2017 program booklet. We welcome our new patron, Dr. A. Norman Sabga, and we look forward to working with him and to incorporating his vision, which can only make the awards program better and more widely known. I especially thank His Excellency Brigadier David Granger for honoring us with your presence on this first occasion of having this ceremony in Guyana, and also for affording us your time yesterday when we had the pleasure of meeting you for the first time. Thank you, sir. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I could not let this opportunity pass without recognizing the contribution to these awards of our departed 2013 laureate, Professor Dave Chady, and two members of our regional panel, Sister Paul Danellis and Sir Dwight Venner, whom we lost in 2016. May they all rest in peace. So let me close by first thanking our Master of Ceremonies, Ms. Margaret Lawrence, and congratulate once again our laureates, and thank you for sharing this very special and important occasion with you. Please stay with us to enjoy the rest of the evening, and we get to know most of you, and that I'm able to renew some old acquaintances. So thank you and good night. And as you make your way out, I would like to ask if His Excellency would afford us the opportunity of having a photograph with our laureates, and Sushridath and Mr. Norman, and if the panel, the regional panel, would stay put as well, and our chairs and nominating committee members and the directors of the foundation. So we'll get our photo ops done very quickly. But the rest of you, please, you can help yourselves to the bar and have a great evening.